Today's topic is Sitecore SXS Search by Jitendra. Jitendra works is colleague of mine, and Jitendra works in AKQA in Sydney. So, Jitendra, all yours.
Yep. Thanks, Matt. Uh, thanks, guys, for joining this today's session. Uh, today, we'll discuss about Sitecore SXS search, and we'll discuss like how it works with the Solar. So we have divided this session in two parts. One is for the Solar, and the second one is for search. So I will start with a little introduction from my side. So So this is a little intro. I've been working in IT industries like more than 12 years now. 6 years working on the Sitecore, work on 8 Sitecore projects, 5 projects on XP, and few of them on the Sitecore Commerce. I've been working on the Search, Solar, Azure, Covio, and the Fusion. I'm also certified with Sitecore, Microsoft Certified Technology Specialist. I'm also Covio certified. So there are two Covio certification. One is for the Sitecore, and the second one is for the basic, like the core implementation developer. So I'm with the second one. I'm also certified with Google GTM and GA. Personal intro: I'm living in Sydney with my family, awarded by President in 2000. I'm also Genius Student awarded in 1996. Let's talk about the Sitecore community. I've been blogging like uh, almost 10 years now. 6 years I've been like blogging on the Sitecore. You can see my first blog on 2014. I'm active on the Sitecore Slack channels. So if you have any questions on Sitecore, mostly related with XConnect or search, I will jump into there and reply on the messages. So here I will take a pause. I will highly encourage all of you guys uh, who are learning the Sitecore or who are like uh, having a good experience with the Sitecore. So this is our core Sitecore community. You can check with the Stake Exchange, the community portals and the community documents. We have few links. You can see the Sitecore user groups. So you can browse all the user groups. As mentioned, it's very good that like you will find like almost every weekend's a good Sitecore user groups hosting a few events. So it's good to connect with all the folks. So I will start from Solar, a little bit more introduction from my side. So if you are working on Solar, you must have seen these books, AI powered by Search and Solar in Accents. So these books basically written by Trey Granger. So I was lucky that I got a chance to work this guy. He was very helpful, and we worked on a project for Solar migration. There is one more book. If you are working on Solar, I would encourage that you should read this Relevant Search. It has a lot of good examples, and it will clear a lot of basic fundamentals uh, clarification for you guys. So again, Dowd Trundle, it's very well connected with the search community. We have also contributed on the Solar.NET Cloud Git repo. While doing some implementation, we found some improvement. So you can see there is a GitHub commit 425 for that. Okay, so let's start with part one, which is Solar. So I have mentioned few agenda here. Like we discuss about Solar architecture, basic algorithm, how it works, synonyms, stop word, protected word, spell checking, highlighter, and these three are like analyzer, tokenizer, and filter. So I will try to keep this session more practical rather than theoretical. So like you guys can get understanding and feel that how it works rather than just reading this all theoretical. So the first is architecture view. So if you see, this is the high level architecture with the Solar. So I have divided this the 4 layer. High level.
Sorry for the interruption. The voice is breaking.
Mm, just a minute. Is it okay now? Is it breaking for all of you guys, or is it just for one?
No, we are able to hear you.
Okay. Uh, maybe then maybe you need to check. So let's continue for 2 minutes. If you're getting the same continuous, then maybe I will pause. Is it okay? So you raised the question.
Not sure who raised it, but yeah, please carry on.
Okay. Yeah. Sorry. So for the presentation part, you can see like the Solar.net, Solar J client, and there are a few options, Python and client API. So when we are talking with the Sitecore, we are using the Solar.net, which is an open source GitHub repository, which has all the code for Solar, classic Solar with master and slave, as well as the cloud with Zookeeper. So we can use this one. And the second is the Solar Engine. I won't discuss more about this because that will take a longer time. So I will just focus on the few highlighted areas. So these are the handlers which will interact with the Solar core, which is the application layer. Data upload, you can see there's options for data import, Apache which takes all the file documents like PDF and all this thing. And there's index handler. And now this is Lucene core, which is the core of the Solar. So if you see the Solar basically has a Lucene as a core. Solar just a wrapper on the Lucene core platform, which provide you interact with the admin panel and the with the APIs, because Lucene doesn't support with this API. It's a completely file-based system. Sorry. So now in the Lucene core, you can see there's index searcher, query parser, index writer, and index reader. These components take care about the input and output. And now there is a chain of analyzer, which is very interesting. I will provide you a walkthrough how it works. So there is a tokenizer and analyzer. So these two filters basically take care how you insert the data, how you stem and tokens those data in the Solar, and then how you read it. Then there's a J2EE container. It's based on Java, and the last one is the storage, which is index storage and the schema storage. Next is the basic algorithm. So again, I will take a pause. So we have been using Solar from like a long time with the Sitecore. But do we really know that when we insert a single row in the Solar and we ask Solar to give us the row, then how it's giving you the row in the sequence, like why it's giving you first records on the top, why it's giving you second records, what if you want to change the sequence. So there is an algorithm behind that. So if you see, I will discuss more about in the practical when we do. So when we do the query, the second option comes with the boosting, where you can tune your sort algorithm. And then there's a base ranker. And now you can see I have divided two components. Before Solar version 6.0, it was calculating TF IDF, like what is the term frequency and inversion of document frequency. And after 6, it started with BM25 algorithm. Again, it's slightly core with Solar. We can discuss more. So I will just provide you a high level and then we'll discuss more. So this is the high terminology, like what is the TF, what is IDF, what is CF and FM. So when we search a particular word in the Solar, first it will check that how many words it has in all the indexes, right? So then based on that, it will give us a ranking that, okay, now out of 100K, this document has this term frequency. If I search for, let's say, A, then it will search for all documents. Second, it will search for inverse document frequency. Like, what will happen, like if I have few documents which has a lot of words, in that scenario, if I only follow the TF, all my documents will come on the top based on the tokens. So it's just controlling the TF. There's IDF which will let Solr know that even if there are low frequency of the word in the document, it will give that a high ranking. And there's a coordinate factors. Again, I won't go deep into that. That's again factor to calculate the indexing. And then field norms, again, that's another factor to calculate the indexing. Let's take an example here. Let's say if you enter 2 sentences in a Solr index. Let's say first sentence is Earth is the 3rd planet from the sun. Okay. So when it will calculate like Earth is a one word. And what is the term frequency? It's 1 out of 8. And what is the term frequency in second sentence is 0. Then it will put the log and then it will provide you a ranking. There's a options in the Solr where you can debug this algorithm. So I've written few blogs where you can check how Sitecore is providing the ranking, how you can debug that ranking. And if you want to change the ranking with the boosting, you can go and do that. So that's how it calculates. Now it's a synonym, so I will pause it here. Let's start with the Solr. I will close this all things. I will start from here. Okay, so now here you can see I have few core on my machine. I will use test core. If I go to the test core here, and if I search for the records, I can see there are few records 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I just deleted one. Let's select one more records here. If you go to document, if you so this is the handler which I showed you in the architecture view. So you will pass ID which will be in double quotes. So this is the ID. Let's say I'm entering record number 9 and the name, let's say, would be Sug. Okay. So this is a commit within. So Sitecore always do the soft commit. It will keep a time frame here, so it won't always go and update it. So I will just keep it short, so it will be automatically updated. So when I do it, this I have inserted one record here, and if I go there and if I search, I can see my record is there. Okay. Let me move this slightly here. Okay. So now here, why if I'm searching for, let's say, name, let's say my name equal to test. Let me remove this thing. So I'll just remove this thing. Okay. When I search for the test, it gave me 2 records. Okay. So so this is the search query you can see, and if I want to search for, let's say, any of the synonyms, then we can use the synonym feature with the Sitecore and as well as the Solr. Now I want to debug that how it ranked, that why this test document which has 2 tests and this document has 1 test, why this came first on the top, right? So you can just open this query in the browser and you can put, let's say, debug equal to true. Then you would see how it actually calculated all this ranking internally. So it explained that how it gave you the weightage. The name was best in the 0 document, which I was showing you here. And then it gave some weightage on the query. And based on that, it provided the results. Right. One more thing here, with the Solr, when you do any document insert with latest Solr version, so there was two schema. One is the classic, and the second one is the manage. So based on the field type, it will generate the field for you. So if you go and search for the field which we have created, a name. So now you can see this name field, it's index, tokenized, stored, and unreadable. Again, I have that on different meanings. I won't discuss more about this one, but let's discuss on this section. If you load the terms here, now you can see for each terms we have few records, right? For test, I have 2 records. For these, I have 1 records. So the way Solr works internally at the high level, it will divide all your data, all your sentences in a token, right? And when you do a search on the index, it will again divide your search keyword into a token, and then it will match with token to token, and then it will provide you the results. I will show you how it works. So there is an algorithm which I showed you, which is BM125, which I was saying you somewhere here, BM125. Now, if I go here and if I go and analyze that, okay, I'm searching for field, let's say test, and I want to search this on the name field. So this is the index. It will show you that how indexing is working on your Solr, like how it indexes your data and it generates the tokens. And when you do the query, it will show you that how it's generated the query. So when you do this one, you stop this one. It says when you insert the test, it will generate the tokens as a test, and then when you search for the test, it will match test with test, and it will give you the data. When you do, let's say, if I'm searching for apples, and here, if I'm searching for apples, now you can see something happens here, right? So these things 1, 2, 3, 4, I will discuss that's in the next slide. But Solr took this apples as an input and it used the standard tokenizer, and then it tokens divided in a stream of tokens. After the tokenizer, it came in the snowball filter with stem that word apples to apple, and then again the stop word which will apply and which will discard all the bad words. So let's say if you put some bad words or like any word which you don't want to index, so that's again in the next slide I will discuss with you. So this is how indexing of the data works, and this is how the query of the data works. Let's start with this slide, and like slowly we'll discuss more in detail. So for the synonyms, I will just give you high level that if you do the search, if I'm a user, if I want to search, let's say give me the result for name. Let me do this thing. Okay, so now I got, if I'm searching for Sony, I'm getting the result for Sony. What if I want to get the results, right? Like how the synonyms works. So if you go to the Solr document and the Solr file. So this is the schema.
Hi, Jitendra. Sorry to
Like, hello.
Yeah, hi. So I just wanted to say that there is a lag between the between your explanation and the screen. I don't know if only I am facing it or if everyone is facing it.
Actually, we are not facing that issue.
Complex contracts.
Okay.
Yeah, well,
But it's installed into software.
anyway,
You have hands-on that you can
thanks
access.
for, guys, thanks for the feedback. I will be more slow, but at least we can cover the latency. Okay. So
Yeah, thank you.
no issue. So now this is a synonyms txt file, and if I would like to provide that if I'm searching for a word called Sony, and if there is a record called Jitendra, it should come up, right? So two way you can define the synonyms in the synonyms txt file. This one is one way where you will say that if I'm searching for the Pixima, give me the word of the Pixima, but it's not the two-way uh, two-way multi-dimensional. Okay. Now this one is two-way where if you search for the Sony, it will give you result for all this word, and if you search for let's say soup, it will give you result for all this word. So if I go and just update my, just reload, I'll open one new tab here. Now this time if I search for name and then you can see I'm searching for a word with my name, but that's not exist in the actual index, right? But still I can search because I have put that synonyms right. Now if I remove this one and if I just want to say like one dimensional, so then I will just upload this one again. So it won't give me any results, right? So what I'm trying to explain you that how the synonyms works from this slide, and if you want to apply any synonyms on your Solr, this is your place where you will go and update the synonyms. One point we need to consider here, so this is synonyms txt file. When you are using the Solr Classic, like non-cloud mode, you can use the txt file, but if you are going with the Solr Cloud, I would highly recommend go with the Manage API, so it can be distributed among all your instances. So there is an API within Solr where you can upload and update the synonyms through the API. I can show you here. This is there. So here in the Solr Cloud mode, you will see an API and you would see all the synonyms here. So I just updated the synonyms file here and you can see here. Okay. So what we have discussed, how to apply the synonyms, one dimensional and the multi-dimensional. Let's go to the next. So this is one. This is the multi-dimensional. Now what is the stop word, right? So the stop word is, again, you can see a txt file here on this folder, which is the stop word. So why we are using the stop word? So stop word is saying that I have a few words in, let's say, in my company, and I don't want those words to be indexed or stamped in the indexes. So in that case, I will put those word in here. It won't be indexed. If I can show you from here, let's say I added this bread word, and the bread word was there, but after that, on the second filter, it got removed. Okay, so that's the purpose of having the stop word. Now, what is the protected word, right?
Jitendra, sorry. Can you explain that once again? I have not got that point.
Yep.
Stop.
So yeah. So stop word, basically, if you go there, so this is a stop word. And if I say that now I'm here and I have a few crawler which is getting data from different places, but I don't want to index some words which are not like some abuse word or something. I will put those words here, so it won't be indexed in my system, right? So let's say I just gave you this example, like if I can show you, let's say from this, so let's say the bed word, right? Bed word could be anything. So if I go here, if I put, let's say this is my bed word, and if I go here, I will reload this one. Again, I will go to analyze, and if I go Apple bed word name, now you can see it. So these are the stage. It has to be like whatever tokens you can see at the last stage, those will goes to the index. Now it didn't complete the third stage, right? If I remove this from this one, from the red word, if I save this one, again if I reload this selection, if I go, and if I go, now you can see, right? So these base words are there. Okay, is it clear?
Yes. Yeah, Jitendra. Thank you.
Yeah, no issue. So that's how we use the bad words. Now the next one is the protected word. Protected word is more interesting if you are using, let's say, multi words. So multi word, basically, I think I just need to provide you some background for that. So let's say the stop word works word by word, right? I put the bad words, it removed the bad word, right? But these analyzer and filters basically stem those words. Let's say apples was the input, but it is stemmed to apple, right? And when I search for the apple here, I will get that result, right? So this stem word sometimes, like I can give you example. Let's say you have a few sentences, like let's say I'm going somewhere else, and going somewhere, I'm going something like that. So in this stage, this word will be stamped, like going would be go, and it would be stored as a token in the index, right? But somehow, if you want to explicitly avoid that, even if it is stemming, I don't want to store. I don't want to store those tokens. I just want to discard that stemming. In that case, you will use this protected word. So I will show you this protected word later when we discuss about this analyzer. When I apply that analyzer, I will pass that protected file, and then it won't consider those protected keyword. Okay, I will be slightly fast now. Then highlighter, again, it's out of the box. Basically, if you see on this screen, you just need to check the H1 option, and when you do the search, let's say for the test, it will highlight. If you can see in the screen, it will highlight that name in the down with this HTML tag as a test, right? In the Solr config, there is a settings where you can change this highlighter. You can pass this fake size, and you can pass this fake slope. If you want to tune it, you can go and you can tune it. So that's the highlighter. The spell checker, again, the spell checker, you can see here in the screen when you search for for a wrong keyword, let's say in this example, I search for test T and then T, then it will suggest me the most accurate word. And again, that's based on this dictionary Solr spell checker. And this is the class name. And there are a few parameters. Like if you want to tune, let's say max query frequency, which is 0.01, which is by default. If you tune this one, then it will change. It will try to do more accurate spell checking for you. So I just use this one. If I can, this one. So I change this to test code. So now you can see I search for test T, and then it gave me that, okay, you missed spelling suggestion, and the correction would be for test T, it's a test, right? So this is how the spelling works in the Solr. Okay. If you want to change, you can go and you can modify, but there are some open source tool available which will justify that what should be the outcome, and then based on that you can compare like how it works with the Solr. I will go to the next slide. Okay, this is understanding analyzer, tokenizer, and filter. Again, it's a very interesting topic. So you can see that for one field, let's say for the text general, which I can show you here. If you go here on the file schema, spelling Solr config, text general. Okay, so for text general, you will define a field here, and from test code, if you go and analyze that field on the schema, that this is my name. This name is a type of text general, right? So it's a type. You define a type here, and for each type, basically you will define your analyzer. So there is an index time analyzer and there is a query time analyzer. So analyzer, as I said, whenever you input any bulk data, it will do the stemming. It will distribute like generate a stream, not the stem. And then tokenizer, which is the standard tokenizer, which again generate the tokens for each word. And the filter you will use if you want to discard like any bad word, if you want to escape like some protected word, and then the stop word, right? So this is the example for that. So here again, if I go here, if I search for apples, and if I search, let's say, for name. Okay, so now these basically you can see these, because I use that text general, and text general has these the standard tokenizer and filter. So I can see all this here. Let's say this is for the standard tokenizer, this one is snowball, this is stop filter. So this will take care of stopping the words, and this is a lowercase filter. So if I pass this apple, let's say in uppercase, so it will just convert it to lowercase. So that's how this tokenizer, filters, and this analyzer works. So this is an example. You can see analyzer would be index time, query time, and with the new feature you can put on the multi-terms. Whenever you insert any data in the index, it will do analyze, then it will generate the tokens, then it will assign that tokens and discard and transform those tokens. So I just gave you a few examples like how the filter porter stemmer works. It basically stems a few words. I won't go deep into that. Again, the snowball. snowball, again it will stem, but it doesn't accept any protected word. So it's used to stem the word. In this example, you can see test, ABC, don, like don, stream, apple, banana, something like that. It stem that word. How the facet works. So before going to that, I would like to pause here. So this is how the stemming work. If you want to change anything, let's say for my config set, let's say the solar config set. Go to this is my manage schema. So manage schema will have X level of definition. So basically here in the manage schema, I was just trying to show you that you can change the sequence here with the lowercase and with this like lowercase and with the snowball. This is very useful. Like when you playing with multi-word keywords and let's an example. You have a few products which has the size, let's say 2:6, and user want to search by 4:12. So there's no any out of the box even with the solar which will give you those things. So in those cases, you will go and you can create your own filter, and that filter will take input as a data, let's say 2:6, and you can generate your own tokens. If I'm clear, like I just wanted to verify, let's see, product has 2:4 dimension, and if you want to generate terms, let's say if user search for 4:8, then he should be able to see the similar data, or maybe in the centimeter or millimeter. Then you can create your own filter. So we have done these type of customization. We have created our own filters and we plug in into the Sitecore, and that will generate the more terms here. And when you search for different value, you will get the data. Let's move into facet. It's very simple with the solar. So if you go here and if you search for this one, the facet is out of the box. You will just say that I want to facet this based on the name. You will pass the name field and it will give you the facet. I will keep this count to 0. So now you can see. So for this whole data, I have facet for Sony 2, for test 2, for Apple 2, for bedword 1, Sitecore 1, and test 1, 2, 3, 1. Okay. So why I'm showing you this facet, that later when we discuss about the Sitecore SXA, I will match with that SXA, how it works with the SXA. And the next one is the boost. So boost is, again, if I can give an example, that let's say if you have a document, give you this example, I think that's better. Let's go here, name equal to test, and I will keep this, let's say 10. Okay, so I got these two results, right? One is the test and the second one is one test. Somehow, let's say your business is more interested in this test too, because this is your leading product or something, right? So in that case, you can provide an additional boosting that if my product has a leading flag, let's say this is a leading flag, then boost that product by, let's say 10%, 10 point. That this product, like from your all the data, it will just update the sequence and it will boost your data. So there are two types of boosting. One is the boosting of all the documents and the boosting based on your based on the fields. So document level boosting, it doesn't support with Solar latest version. So you can apply your field level boosting. There are two options. You can use boost functions, and you can pass as a boost query. Boost query is simple, like you will pass if the field has this value, boost by this. Boost function, if you put some additional logic that some calculations, then you will use this one. I will show you this example. If I can show you. Let's say for this example, I will test code. So here I said this is boost boost query ID where to boost by this number, and I will remove this next, it's a parser, and then it will boost if the ID has two value. If I will say boost query ID which has two, we'll remove this values. Okay, it's not giving me the data. If I put this one here, let's say if I put 7 or something, it's not giving, but this is how you will set the boost query variables here, and then it will boost. The similar query we'll discuss when we start with the site code. This is the correct query. Sure, that's not working, but I will have it. So this is the boosting. Now, if you want to check more about things, so I have written a blog here how you can use the boosting and how you can use the LTR, learn to rank, where you will automatically boost your data. There are a few blogs which I have written that how search works with the Alibaba, how search works with the Sitecore Solr, how you can debug. So you can take the reference from there. I'll start from the Sitecore SXS search. I will take a pause for 2 minutes. If you guys have any questions on this one for Solr. Any questions from anyone? Okay. Okay, then
one hello.
Yeah, please go ahead.
Yeah, so is Solr supporting the nested level objects?
For the nested level, what do you mean? Like if we do?
Yeah, like an object with a collection. Those kind of records, can we put it in Solr? We tried that, but we were getting error. We were trying to understand what any options we have or not.
For the nested level, few options like not sure, like chain processor, something that you can use.
Yeah, for example, we have the facets count here, right? So that will be my object, and I have so again the collection of object inside that.
No, so you can use two things for that. So you can use a tabular inside of the facet, which will give you the count inside of the test2, like what all are the fields under this test2, and if it is a chain, like if it is saying object within the object, it will give you all the inside. Like for this facet, you can get one more level of object and you will get a count. So there are options in the Solr, but if you're talking that I want exact, so it won't give you, it will give you the result. It will give you result for test2. It will give you all the details, like how many documents IDs are there. Then you can parse and then you can use it. So you can like message to me if you want more details, but it won't give you internal facets count.
Okay. No, I'm just not talking about facet in general, basically. So if I want, I have an object inside that I have a collection of another objects. So those kind of structure, I would like to know if it is supporting or not. Looks like we're not able to put the okay.
So for test2, for this facet, for the name S2, where you can see the count is true, there is options where you can get the details of this facet inside this object, right?
Okay.
So yeah, so I'm not getting the name, but maybe I can let you know. So there's options for getting the details view within the object. It will give you, like in the Excel, we have all the details view for some data. So it will give you those data.
Ajay, Naresh here. So we can achieve
Yes.
using computed fields, the one which you are saying. So basically, if you want to store multiple values, first thing you need to store like multi-valued equal to true on the field, and
Okay.
then you can have a computed field. Then you can, I mean, we can discuss offline next time. But basically, you can achieve this using computed field if it's not supporting out of the box Solr.
Right. Yeah. Inside the computer field, probably I'll be able to nest the objects, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
We
Yeah.
can
Thanks.
create and we can achieve some structure.
All right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys. Thanks, Naresh. Yeah.
Yep.
Thank you. So just to clear, so if you want to get like nested details, that's maybe not supported. But if you just want to get the insight, like more details within the facet, you can get it. And of course, for
Thanks.
computed field, if you want to put facet on your particular computed field, you can create a custom computed field. You can put the structure in the computed field, and then when you do the facet, like you'll get the result count based on those.
Yeah. Got it. Yeah. Thanks. Yeah.
Yeah. Any more questions, guys? Okay. Okay. Then let's go into this one. So for the Sitecore SXA search, we'll discuss about this topic at the high level. Okay. So just an overview. SXA Sitecore provides out of the box functionality where you can drag and drop a few components. Those are just ready-made component which you can use it, and all your page, all your search requirement, you can easily get it from there. Right? There is a very well documented details is here. You can get the reference from this document, and you can use all these components here. What does facet means in Sitecore SXA? So again, there are a few out of the box facets in the Sitecore, like bool facets, date facet, distance facets available we can use, and if you want to leverage, we can create our own facets. So these are the facets available with the Sitecore. This is just an example that how facets looks like in the content editor tree. Now here, when you do that, the document, sometimes you won't see the results on your pages. In that case, you can see on my screen, you would see Sitecore support, like Sitecore has fields called searchable b equal to false. So sometimes you need to, if it is SXA, and if you're moving your data source to a data folder, then you will make sure that you will add those data source in your settings, and then when you reindex, then you would be able to see those data. So searchable was false, and then you will go to Sitecore tree. You will choose in the template for that data. You will pass this searchable as a base template, and when you do the search, you would see that data here. So there are few tips for the troubleshooting. You can check this my blogs where I've written, like, if you have any issue, you can check and verify. But just give you an example, like whenever we are doing any query from Solr, so basically you can go to your Sitecore. If I go to family data X, so this is the index. Just a second. Okay, this is just showing you the index data. Okay, so this is a P log, and you can verify in these Solr logs how the query works, which I was trying to show here. Okay, next, let's start with the demo, like how you add this result component and all the SSL component. So I will start the site code here. So in the site code, basically, I just created a page, which you can see, which is a sook page. We can create a new page quickly. So I will just provide you how it works from this page. I will create a quick text page. I'll go to Actions Editor. Okay. So here, basically, we'll create a page which has all the functionality like search, result, filter, and view mode. So first, let's set up a structure. So I will go to the page structure. I will put a row splitter, and within the row splitter, I will put a few rows so we can use. Okay. So in first, second, third. So here I will just put search result component, which is a search result component. And here you will have options to choose the existing content item. So I will choose, let's say, new test settings item. And you have options to choose the variant, and you can create your own variant. So I just created a variant here, this rendering variant. So you will go to presentation, and the rendering variant, you go to the search. Search result. So I've created a token results. In the token, I put some field names. You can create a few data. I just created a mock data here for the test data with 4 profiles with 3 to 4 fields. This is one, these are second fields. So what I will do, first I need to define the scope for the result component. So scope is basically preset of conditions which you can plug in with the search result component. So for this component, I will go to settings. In the settings for the scope, I have created a search list scope. So scope basically, as you can see, now you want to see that I want to see all the data from the test data location. I will remove this thing for now. So this is a simple condition. I said like give me data from this location, which is this test data, and I will plug in this scope with my result component. Okay. So I go to this is my context. So this is scope. So I will search this is scope item, and I will save it. So that's how the result component works. So 3 steps: drag and drop that result component. You will define your scope, and then you will define your rendering variant. Use out of the box, or you can define your own. So if I search this page, I can see 4 results. I can see that data because I haven't used the right rendering variant. So if I put the right rendering variant here, if I select this one, now I can see my 4 results are there, and I just define this 4. So this is the first part, how you will drag and drop the result components. Now the second, if we want to put, let's say, a view more options. So in the next row, we can add, let's say, on the search component, I want to see the load more. I will use, let's say, I created a few just context. So if I want to change the text, I can change it from here. And if I save it here, because I have only 4 records, and in the result components, I gave the maximum as a 20, so I won't able to see the view more. So I will keep this result, let's say, for 3. And if I save this one, and if I just click this one, now I can see the view more options. When I click this one, you would see more data. So that's very simple. If you want to customize like the text of this one, you can go and change here in the properties. So this, if you go here, like this is a view more. If you want to see view more results, and there are few out of the box tokens which you can use, like if you want to show the count or something, so you can use this one. And if I just refresh this one, you can see view more results. Next, I will just provide you details for, let's say, if you want to use any facet. So you can put facet here, the search. So let's say we want to use facet checklist. If I click this one, just use this facet and I'll save it. So for the facet, what I have done, I just gave the name of the field, that what field I want to use, and that field should exist on the Solr index. If I go and refresh this page, now I can see my facets, which is UK2. I can do the faceting here. If I do India, I can do one. I can do here. Now, if you want to apply the sorting, again, this is out of the box. You can apply the sorting, and with the 9.3, there is a good options where if you want to show the selected facet, which is a facet summary. If you select this facet summary, and if you click the facet summary here, I've just created, and if you save this one, so now you can see facet summary is there. If I apply and change, let's say, to India, I can see India is selected here. If I apply for AU, I can see AU is there, and if I want to remove, I can remove all the data, and you can see all my records is there. The same thing, there are a few more options with SXA. Let's say in the new row component, if I go to the search, and if you want to search, use search box as a free text search. I will keep this on top, not here. Let's say I will keep this in header. Search, and if I put this search box, so it's very easy to use. If I search for soup, if I search for, let's say, India, I would see 1 results. If I search for UK, I would see 2 results. So that's again out of the box. You can use it. And so we have discussed about the search result, facets, view more, and the free search. And this one is where is the selected one is out of the, like, with the 9.3. And there's one more facet summary, group summary with the 9.3, which I haven't used. So you can use that one to see facet summary, like based on the result selected, you will see facet within the facet. So let me go into the slide here. we have. Okay, so let's discuss about search result. Now discuss about the boosting. So if we want to apply a boosting on these results, so we will go to the scope, which is here in the settings. Let's say for this one, I would say I just created one boosting rules, which says that give like boost the results where the field name is country tree. You need to make sure that you get the field from your schema. If you go to schema and country, I'm using this XP0, XP0, where is my SXA? So this is my SXA. If I go to a schema, I need to make sure that I choose the right field, which is country tree. I will pass that if the country tree field has the value, I will put the condition if it is equal to UK, then boost by, let's say, this is a very high number, I will say boost by, let's say, 50 points, and just select it. Now if I go here in my results, if I remove all these things, you would see the UK is coming on the top and then India is coming on the second. If I change that query here, that now boost if the country is, let's say, India, right? Just reverse. And if I save this one, and if I go and refresh these results, you would see now India is coming on top, right? The same thing, all these queries which is happening on this page, you can track all this query from the network, like how it's going to SXA. If you see this query, the facet query, how it is going to search, and then in the Solr, you can go and check the logs. You can generate your query, and then you can debug that if you are not getting the correct results or if it is missing some dead things. So that's how you mostly do the troubleshooting. Now boosting we have covered, Sitepoint 9.3, which we have covered, aggregated filter, summary facet, free text search, and if you need more, like if you want to get more details, you can check it here. Now one thing I would like to show you guys, that if you want to create, let's say for the build query, which is the scope query, if you want to customize here, let's say for this one, you're saying give me the data under the test data location, which is fine. But sometimes you need to customize, let's say for SSA, you can see there are few tags available. Let's say you want to exclude current item, then you can exclude. If you want to use under current items, give me all the data that you can use. I have created one which is a test item with the same value in the query string, and that's what I will just show you that how it works, and if you want to customize how you can use it. So what I did, that on this page, sometimes maybe we have the requirement that this page we will trigger from a different page, and I want to get these results, let's say from the query string, right? Which if it doesn't support with the out of the box. So I just created this test item with the same query string. If I put this one, and if I put a field name, let's say country, and if I save it, if I go here on this page, now I can say that if I pass this as a query string, that where country UK. Now you can see it's giving me the results based on the query string. If I say give me the results based on the India, then it will give me the results based on the India. So all this custom tokens you can extend These are the out of the box, if I can show you. So if you go to SXS search, which is okay, in the SXS search, you can use all this resolve query. Like, let's say for current item, if you want to exclude, so you will overwrite this process model. You'll say, okay, the location, and then I need to exclude this one, and then you'll put your, let me show you, and then you will pass your condition here. Okay, so the same thing, I just created one custom resolver here, which you can see, which is a test item with the field in the value query string. If I'm getting any query string here with field and value, and if the name exists here, then I should do the query. If I remove this one, let's say this one, it won't work. If I go here and if I do the search, I remove this one. Okay, so it's doing nothing. It's giving me result for India as well. Okay, and how I did that, I can just show you. I will put some, let's say, put some debugger or something. So here I just overriding the process. I'm saying that give me all the tokens which I am sending from my tokens, which is a country. I can pass as a comma separated. Like I want to pass, let's say, country as well as name, like country as well as, let's say, name. Is this one? Okay, best item with the query. I didn't save last time. So I can pass the multiple tokens here. Let's say country equal to UK and name equal to, let's say, Ben. Country equal to UK. Sorry, this is wrong. Country equal to UK and name equal to Ben. So now you can see it's giving me country and name equal to Ben. So it's not 10 condition, it's 4 conditions. So it's giving me both the data. So if you want to leverage, you can inject your own custom token resolver, and here you will get, like, I'm getting all these tokens, and from each token I'm putting that condition, that model.insert, which is here. I'm saying that it should be must for each condition, and then I'm removing that model, and that's how I'm getting the data. You would need similar requirement if you want to extend these custom item resolver. It's very straightforward. You can take the reference from the Sitecore libraries, and then you can write your own logic, and then you will just register this here, and that's all. That's all you need to do. So let's go again here. So again, if you want to have more details about that, you can read all my blogs here, and I will pause here, and I'm happy to take any question if you guys have.
Hey, Jitendra, this is Deb here. Am I audible?
I can hear like background noise.
Sorry, not me for sure. So, just one. So my question was that, is there any pagination related tool also available with the search results, or like a load mode or a pagination kind of component?
Yep. Yep, that's correct. So this is the load mode, and for pagination, if I just put, sorry, I'm just putting in the footer just to let you know. So there is a facet, there is a one more component which, let me check, which was, if I'm not wrong, where you can do that facet. So this is a facet summary. Let me show you. I use this on this page, on this soup page. Okay. So here I use that filter. So this is aggregated filter. This is filter checklist, and this is search. Let me show you. Okay, do you mean by this, right?
Mm-hmm.
So yes, so there is an option like you can show the result count as well as you can put next and previous options, which is again drag and drop with the not getting. Maybe this was one of.
No, there is should be page selector. Page selector.
Page selector, I think.
Yeah, beside location finder. Just one more row above and right
This
side
one,
corner.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, if I put this one, and yep, you can see. So this is again out of the box, so you can like this.
Got it. Thanks, Jitendra.
No issue. One thing, a few points, if you when you're using multiple SXA components, you would follow some best practices, like you can define your signature and ID. So because all this component you are dragging and dropping in the disconnected mode, how this component would know that I am the result count of this result component. If you drag and drop multiple component, then you can map with the signature key and the IDs. So that's how you can use multiple components. Okay. Any more questions, guys?
Hey, hi Jitendra, this is Arvind. Can you hear me?
Hi. Arvind, yes,
Yeah. Okay, so no question as such, but would like to say that it was really good and in-depth session on search, and I really enjoyed it very well. Thanks a lot for this wonderful session.
Thank you,
Thanks
sir.
a lot.
Thank you so much. I'm glad that it's
Jitendra,
useful for you guys.
yeah, Ravindra, this side. I have one question.
Yep.
Yeah, so the SXA supports Azure search as well, right? SXA search.
Yes.
Okay.
So
Thank you,
Azure
boss.
search, yeah, it's support, but I think with the latest new release, there was some announcement that Sitecore is going to more focus on the Solar. Yeah, so that's maybe Azure future. I'm not too sure, but yeah.
Okay. Thank you for the wonderful session.
No sure. Any more questions, guys?
Jitendra, Naresh, one question I have, like,
Yep.
so when you were showing the spell checker component, like it was making call to a different request handler, right? It was not going to the default one /select. So when you are using that here with the SXA, do we need to take care of that to go to different request handler, or it will be handled out of the box?
For the spelling suggestion, I would be honest that With the SXA, I haven't tried that one, so I'm not sure whether you would. But my understanding is when we do the search in the Solar, it's altogether a different handler, like for the spelling suggestion and like for spell checker and the auto suggestion. So it would be the same. It would be the same with a different handler, but I haven't checked. So maybe I will come back to you.
Okay, okay.
Jitendra, this is Deb here. There is one more question that I had was that is there any auto suggest kind of feature also available in SXA?
So SXA it support the search, but not there is no any component and control which you can drag and drop. So the expense editor, but auto suggestion does support it, like supported by Sitecore. You would need to configure it separately. It's part of Sitecore search, but you can't configure as a part of SXA. That's your point.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah. Okay, guys. Any more questions? I'm happy to discuss if you have anything. The one we discussed about the Solar, the custom field. So whoever raised that point, I will make sure that I will send you what I was talking about, like the details insight about the view. So if you can send me, like you can message me, I will send you those details.
Jitendra, one question. So, when we would go with, I mean, SXA already has a lot of components related search. Are there any scenarios like I may need to go with maybe using like how we implement with normal Sitecore, like using content search API? Are there any scenarios which I can't implement with Sitecore SXA search?
Yeah, that's very good question, Gopi. I missed that. So basically, yes, there would be a lot of scenario where you would need to add your custom, let's say, custom filters. So one scenario would be, which I have recently worked on, that now let's say if you search here, let's say this is my page, okay. Now you can see these are the filters, right? The filters are coming from these results. Like whatever results I have, I'm showing these results. What if I want to show these filters from the XConnect? Like in my XConnect model, which is a custom model which I have generated, if I want to show those filters from this XConnect, what I would do in that case, if I go here in the data search, so these are the out of the box filters available, right? So I will use this one, any of these, and I will extend it. You can see here like how you can extend. You will go to your all these filters here. If I can show you, this is spatial result boosting. Yeah, so you go there. Sorry, what you are saying to me?
No. Is that the get facets you are trying to show?
No, I was trying to show you that you would need, like sometimes you would need to generate the complete component, which will get data from a different source. Like it won't be the SXA component, but you will extend the SXA component. But you won't need to, like in the typical, like you won't go and generate classic component without any SXA. So you would use the SXA structure and you will extend those features. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Thanks. I have another question I'd ask. Like, just imagine if we are implementing maybe kind of events landing page. I come across this situation once. Maybe events landing page, like we are showing a lot of events there, but we need to put a condition there as well, like maybe all upcoming events. So there should be a logic need to be put in place, like the current date. I mean, what are the event dates should be greater than today's date. kind of logic. So how feasible it is when you are working with SXA search to put that kind of logics?
Yeah, it's very easy. So if you see this page, let's say this is my page, and let's say these are my events, right? This is event 1,
Yeah.
this is event 2, and this is event 3. Now I want to say that I just want to I can boost, which is a separate thing, but if I want to discard a few things, right? So you will use the personalization rule on this component, and then like you can leverage that rule that if in the result component, if let's say the event, uh, so just to clarify, you want to discard the result, right? Or you want to change?
See, events, there are like hundreds of events are there, but the event landing page should show, I'm just taking the example. Event landing page only should show like future events, not the past events. I should put some logic for dates, right? Like maybe greater than today's date. Yeah.
Yep. So two things. You can put the personalization rule.
Okay.
If it is already exists. Else, what I would say, you will go to your scope item, which is in settings. The scope item, you go here, and you will say, okay, I want SXA component, and let's say you will create your custom token, which is you will say exclude based on date.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. And then this token you will put it here in your class.
Okay, in the custom token, how you have written yours.
Yeah, and then here you will put all the condition, whether you want to keep, if whatever result is coming, whether it would be must condition or if it is a or condition, then this is how you can filter that data.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, guys, if anyone else has any questions, you can unmute and ask yourself, or you can put it in a chat window. Anything else? Abhaidar has put some question like, please send details on UI framework of SXA search and how to customize UI. UI, I guess.
I can't see.
In the chat window. Okay, is it?
Okay, I can see now. Thank you. Okay,
No, there is, I guess. No, I guess there it was replied into organizer privately. Okay, but otherwise, Abhay was asking like UI framework of SXA search and how do you customize UI? But maybe I can answer partly. It's like it just generally like whatever the SXA components, however we customize UI, right? Like we add extra class, we use rendering variant. That way we can customize. There is nothing. I don't think so. Maybe you can add further, Jitendra.
No, you're right. Okay, it's standard. Like the way we are using with Cyclos, we will create like if it's just a small change, you will create your different rendering. If it is a big change, like you will create a component, and it's like nothing special with SXA.
Yep. I don't think so. Any more questions? So thank you very much, Jitendra. That was very useful.
Just close this thing.
Yep, sure.
Okay.
Thank you all for joining. Yeah.
All for joining. Thanks, Gopi and Aninta, for organizing this. Thank you, guys. If you have any questions, you can connect with me. Thanks for joining.
Thank you. See you all.
Bye.
Thank you.